Welcome to Match B2B Insights, the podcast that helps Israeli companies with 11 to 50 employees crack the code of global distribution. I'm your host, Brenda, and today I'm joined by Benny Ploumann, CEO of Match B2B. Benny, you've helped a lot of mid-sized Israeli companies find the right distributors around the world. What's the biggest mistake you see these companies making?
Thanks for having me on Match B2B Insights, Brenda. The biggest mistake? Companies with 11 to 50 employees think they can use the same strategies as Fortune 500 companies. They burn huge amounts of money and time on approaches that simply don't work for their size. I've seen companies waste $150 to $200,000 on the wrong methods before they even find us.
That's exactly what I wanted to hear, and I know our listeners will get a ton of value from your expertise today. We'll cover three main areas. First, the costly mistakes most Israeli companies with 11 to 50 employees make. Second, the three strategies that actually work. And third, real success stories with specific numbers and timelines. So let's start with the first part, the costly mistakes. What's the most common failing approach you see?
The spray and pray approach with email. I had a client who invested $18,000 in email campaigns, sending 800 emails to random distributors they found online. The result? 3 replies, 0 qualified leads. That's a 0.3% response rate when they should be seeing 20 to 30%. The problem isn't the product, it's the approach. Companies with 11 to 50 employees can't afford to waste money on mass outreach that doesn't work.
So cold emails don't work. What about trade shows? Many Israeli companies see that as their main path to international distributors.
Trade shows can work, but most companies pick the wrong ones. I had a client who spent $35,000 on CES and Medica, huge shows dominated by Fortune 500 companies. They got lost in the noise. The decision makers they needed were actually at smaller industry-specific shows costing 8 to 12,000 instead. Choosing the wrong show is costly mistake number 2 for companies in the 11 to 50 employee range.
And I assume many companies turn to consultants when these approaches fail. Does that work better?
Unfortunately, many consultants sell the wrong service. I've seen companies pay $22,000 for what was basically a fancy Google search, list of distributors with basic contact info, no relationship building, no warm introductions, no understanding of which distributors actually work with companies their size. That's costly mistake number 3.
So we're looking at $75,000 in direct costs, plus the CEO's time. That must be devastating for a company with 11 to 50 employees.
Exactly. Once you factor in the CEO's time, usually 6 to 12 months distracted from running the business, the real cost is $150 to $200,000. And that doesn't include the opportunity cost of delayed expansion. Companies with 11 to 50 employees just can't afford mistakes like these.
Now let's move to what actually works. What should companies with 11 to 50 employees do instead of these costly mistakes?
3 strategies that really work. First, surgical targeting on LinkedIn using reverse engineering. Instead of mass outreach, we identify distributors already working with similar sized companies, then research their decision making process. This gives us response rates of 20 to 30% instead of 0.3%.
That's a dramatic improvement. What's strategy number 2?
Industry-specific trade shows, not mega shows. Instead of spending $35,000 at CES, we find niche shows where distributors actually go to discover new products from companies their size. 8 to 12,000 gets you much better access to the right decision makers who work with 11 to 50 employee companies.
And strategy 3?
Government trade attaches, hugely underused and completely free. Israeli trade attaches in key markets have relationships with distributors specifically looking for innovative companies. They provide warm introductions that would cost thousands through other channels. It's perfect for companies with 11 to 50 employees because it levels the playing field.
Can you share some concrete examples of how this works in practice with real numbers?
Absolutely. Let me clarify that I'll use fictional company names to protect client privacy, but the cases, numbers, and outcomes are all real. AgriGrow Solutions, 28 employees making precision irrigation systems, tried the spray and pray approach for 2.5 years. Thousands of cold emails, minimal results. The CEO spent 15 hours a week on distribution efforts with nothing to show for it. With our LinkedIn targeting, we identified 3 California distributors working with mid-sized agri companies. Within 4 months, they signed their first distributor, who immediately introduced them to 12 qualified prospects. That led to 180,000 in first year revenue.
4 months versus 2.5 years. That's amazing. What about using government attaches?
Medisense Diagnostics, 35 employees making rapid test devices, struggled for a year to enter Europe. They spent 25,000 on consultants who only delivered generic distributor lists. The Israeli trade attaché in Germany introduced them directly to Heidelberg Medical Solutions, a distributor specializing in mid-sized medtech companies. 6 weeks later, they had their first hospital deal in Berlin. More importantly, the distributor helped them navigate CE labeling and had connections with procurement managers at 15 hospitals. No Google search could have delivered that.
6 weeks. That's incredibly fast. Do you have examples from other industries?
Precision Craft, 22 employees in aerospace components, skipped the big air shows and instead attended a small regional suppliers conference. From one distributor they met there, they generated 275,000 in first year revenue. That distributor specifically said they prefer working with companies in the 11 to 50 employee range because they're more agile. Secure Vault, 31 employees in cybersecurity, struggled with big distributors who pushed them into competing with enterprise solutions. We connected them with managed service providers focusing on mid-market companies. Now they're generating 45,000 monthly recurring revenue with a 94% retention rate after 18 months. The MSPs became true partners, even shaping product development with market feedback.
45,000 monthly recurring revenue is impressive. Any fintech examples?
Brenda, Payflow, 19 employees in payment processing, worked with specialized consultants who already had relationships with 120 UK SMBs. Instead of cold outreach, they got warm introductions. And Foodtech Innovations' 26 employees used niche food service trade shows to connect with 8 restaurant chain distributors. They now generate 290,000 in annual recurring revenue.
These results are inspiring. But how should a company actually implement these strategies?
The first 30 days should be pure research, no outreach yet. Most companies skip this step and waste time. Step 1, identify distributors already working with companies your size by analyzing their portfolio. Step 2, understand their onboarding process. Some require exclusivity, others demand territorial rights. Step 3, check their portfolio for conflicts or complementary products. Step 4, map their decision-making process. Who approves new partnerships and their typical evaluation timeline. This research stage saves months of wasted conversations.
What about the actual outreach approach?
Relationships first, not sales first. Companies with 11 to 50 employees can't compete on brand recognition. Lead with value, industry insights, market intelligence, introductions. Instead of saying, we have an innovative solution, say, I noticed you work with precision manufacturers. Here's a market trend analysis showing 40% growth in that sector over the next 18 months. That gets 20 to 30% response rates. Then nurture the relationship with valuable content. Invite them to webinars, share case studies, make introductions. Build trust over 4 to 6 touch points before any sales call.
What timelines should companies expect?
60 to 90 days for first meaningful conversations, 6 to 9 months for distributor agreements. Companies in the 11 to 50 range have an advantage. They move faster than corporates with quicker decisions and simpler contracts.
Many listeners are probably wondering about budget. How should a company with 11 to 50 employees allocate for global distribution?
40% on relationship building and outreach, LinkedIn Premium, trade association memberships, specialized databases. 30% on trade shows and events, but only industry specific ones. 20% on travel and relationship building. You must meet key distributors face to face. 10% on legal and compliance, contracts, territorial rights, regulations. Overall, 3 to 5% of annual revenue should go to global distribution. A company making 2 million in revenue should budget 60 to 100,000 over 12 to 18 months. Compare that to the 150 to 200,000 wasted on failed attempts, and the ROI is clear.
That budget breakdown is very helpful. What about the negotiation stage? What mistakes do companies make there?
The biggest mistake is giving too much territory too soon. Some companies offer exclusivity for entire regions before proving the relationship. Start with non exclusive agreements for specific cities or countries, then expand after performance is proven. Another mistake is focusing on upfront payments instead of performance metrics. A distributor paying $50,000 upfront but not selling is worthless. Better to have no upfront payment but clear sales and marketing targets. And third, failing to define success metrics clearly. Terms like best efforts mean nothing unless you specify activities and goals.
What digital tools should companies use to support their distribution efforts?
CRM is critical. HubSpot or Pipedrive work well at this scale. Use LinkedIn Sales Navigator strategically, not just to connect randomly. Partner relationship management tools like Allbound or Channeltivity help once distributors are on board. Project management tools like Asana or Monday keep cross-border efforts aligned, but don't overspend. A 50-employee company doesn't need a $50,000 CRM. Only use tools that directly support relationship building and performance tracking.
Can you share one more story showing how all these strategies work together?
EcoClean Solutions, 33 employees making commercial cleaning equipment, spent 18 months and 85,000 on failed distribution, mass emails, wrong trade shows, overpriced consultants. We started with 30 days of research, identified 12 potential distributors in North America, and used LinkedIn to study their portfolios. We led with market insights, which got us 3 45-minute discovery calls in 60 days. One distributor introduced them to 3 potential clients even before signing. We started with a non-exclusive agreement in Arizona and Nevada. With performance metrics, 12 demos per quarter, 2 trade shows, monthly reports. 6 months later, they exceeded all targets and gained exclusivity in California. First-year revenue hit $340,000, but more importantly, they had a partner truly invested in their success.
What metrics should companies track to know they're on the right path?
Response rates by channel. LinkedIn should give 20 to 30%, cold email under 5%, trade show follow-ups 40 to 50%. Quality of conversations, track with a scoring system from basic interest to client introductions. How many introductions a distributor makes in the first 60 days is the best indicator of long-term success. And time to value, how long from first contact to meaningful conversation, first client intro, and first pilot project. For companies in this range, speed matters.
Are there regional differences companies should keep in mind?
Definitely. Europe prefers formal partnerships with clear territorial rights. German distributors want detailed specs and compliance certifications. UK distributors validate heavily with case studies. Scandinavians focus on sustainability credentials. North America wants proof of market traction and scalability. Asia Pacific is relationship driven. Japan wants long-term commitment. China wants localization. Korea wants exclusive territories with performance guarantees. Understanding these differences prevents months of miscommunication.
This has been incredibly valuable, Benny. Can you summarize your 3 key takeaways for Israeli companies with 11 to 50 employees looking for global distributors?
First, stop using Fortune 500 strategies. They don't work at your scale and they're too expensive. Second, focus on distributors specializing in your size. They move faster and understand your needs. Third, lead with relationships, not sales. Distributors want partners they can grow with.
Perfect summary. For listeners who want to learn more about Match B2B's approach, where can they find you?
Visit matchb2b.co for a free 30-minute consultation. We help Israeli companies with 11 to 50 employees avoid the costly mistakes we talked about today. And here's something personal. Send me a WhatsApp message. I always reply directly. My number is +972 524203043.
That's amazing accessibility, Benny. Thank you for sharing your insights on Match B2B Insights today. To our listeners, in the next episode, we'll dive into the legal considerations of partnering with international distributors, a critical topic for Israeli companies expanding globally. Until then, this has been Brenda with Match B2B Insights. Keep building global partnerships.